Hey, buddy, I'm warning you, it's not that good.
Thanks, Stephen. Anyway, so then about 10 years ago and 6 months, we buy these tickets, one night only, Nick Cave, Warren Ellis at the Sydney Opera House in all its glory. And we decide as a big group of people we're going to go down there, have a succulent Japanese meal in Sydney, and then go to the gig, make a real night of it. And then we go to do it. We all, 6 months later, get in the car, drive down there, huge storm, heaps of water about, which means heaps of traffic about. Takes about 3 hours, probably should have taken about an hour and a half. We get down there, finally park, and it's pretty much time for the gig. But I was looking forward to the Japanese, and so I convinced everyone that they wouldn't start on time because I'll have a support act, like every gig we've ever been to. Incorrect, obviously. So we have this Japanese meal. I don't remember it, but my friend today reassures me that it was wonderful. I think I've repressed the memories of dinner because we go over to the Opera House after a lovely meal, apparently, and there's no one on the steps outside. Very quiet, very quiet. And so then we go into the building. I'm like, it's eerily quiet. It shouldn't be this quiet. We get up to the door where we're supposed to go in. There's no one there, not even an usher, not even the usher. So I knocked on the door, and an annoyed woman poked her head out and was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're here for the show. What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, you're very late." I was like, "Okay, well, sorry about that. Like, we paid for the tickets. Like, that's weird, right?" Anyway, so she lets us in. We round this corner, and we're right near the stage where she's like, "Stand against the wall and wait for the song to finish." I'm like, okay. So because he's given your seats away. I was like, who's given our seats away? Nick Cave has given your seats away. And I was like, oh, okay, well that's weird. But can you get him to get up? Because like we're here now, like we didn't mean to be late. And she's like, well, we'll have to see. And the song finishes. And then this is where the penny drops. She's gone down to the front row, tapped about 8 people on the shoulder, and pointing back at us, and Nick Cave's looking down like, what's happening down here? And she's like, oh, the people want their seats back. And we had no idea that we'd purchased front row. None whatsoever. And so now the whole show is paused and people are starting to boo loudly, which has never sat well with me, especially when I'm on the receiving end of being booed. And then the whole place just starts booing as these people get up. These champions, apparently, these people of people, young Australians, all of them, I'm sure, got up and left our seats. And then Young Australians of the Year, not just Young Australians, obviously. They probably were young, or at some point in their life, but also that they're Australian doesn't matter. Anyway, we're mortified because Nick Cave then spins around to us and he's like, why were you late? I'm like, oh no, he doesn't want to hear that story. And he's like, did you hear I was playing my old stuff first? I'm like, oh my God. And like last, like his early stuff last and his new stuff first. And I'm like, no. And more people are booing. There's one dude whose like voice is like, he will have no voice tomorrow. And so I waved at the crowd, and that was my big mistake. And that's where my old mate Matt says I might have had to get into a fight with Nick Cave because he was not pleased by this. And he said, what is your name? And I was like, oh God, Adam, what about your surname and your address? And I'm like, oh God, you know, your mother's maiden name. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, he shamed us poorly and I felt so bad. I had my head down for half the gig, even though I was at the front row and would have seen, like, and then one time I did look up, and this is not a joke, he was squat down over the edge of the stage, and he was doing this motion at me for an entire song. No word of a lie. It's insane. So there's no heroes or villains in this, and I certainly don't come off looking great. And I guess the real moral of the story here is don't be so quick to Karen or male Karen. Can't say male Karen. Was it Baron? Yeah, Baron. Don't be so quick to get your Baron on. You went to school with a Baron. Yeah, she couldn't have kids. Her name was Kelly. No, never mind about that. But yeah, so yeah, still talking about that one 10 years later because yeah, it's not doesn't really paint me in a very positive light, but neither does this laundry light. So good night, everyone.